It's Ash, Kip Luttsy at Nova 106.9. We have a couple of very special guests in the studio. Tim Martin from Young Care and his mum Jenny's here with us. Welcome, guys.
Oh, mate, first time here at Nova.
Now, Tim, welcome into the studio, first of all.
Thank you.
And it's 4 weeks today that we're going to be on a jet plane, and we're heading out to the Big Apple. We're going to New York City. Now, when we told you a few weeks ago, now in the farm at New Farm, you got very emotional. I was telling my wife about it.
Yeah.
My wife cried when she heard the story that you're coming to New York with us. I mean, has it all sunk in that you're heading over?
No, not at all.
Have you let go? I see that you have let go of the travel guide that we gave you to New York.
The Lonely Planet.
The Lonely Planet. Do you remember, Luttsy? We were shooting. We told you were coming to New York. We gave you a Lonely Planet New York guide, and then we had to shoot the commercial for Channel 9 with Lofty. Well, Tim wasn't letting that Lonely Planet. It was like you thought that had the ticket to New York right there.
Oh, there, yeah.
But you've been through it.
Oh, God, yes.
What are you looking forward to from New York?
Footy.
Yeah.
The museums.
Yep.
Party on.
Yeah, just partying on.
Now Luttsy's ears.
You lost me momentarily in museums, but I'm back on board now.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Well, it's party central, you'll be happy to know.
Oh, no, it just...
There's a couple of places that Jenny probably won't let me take you.
Well, Jenny,
Tim's a free man.
Yes, he's a free man.
As Tim's mother, I can say that I've been under Luttsy's wing for some time in my life. I think as the mother, you should step in and say, stay away from my son Tim, because Luttsy, he's got
it's
New
not
York
true.
parents.
We'll look after him.
No,
but we're still partying.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
There you go.
But Tim, what about like the marathon itself?
Yeah,
of course, we're heading over there. We're going to have to push you through the whole of New York. You get to see the whole of the city that way.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing.
Now, Timmy, we're all dieting and sort of doing everything right to try and finish this race. What about yourself? What are you doing?
Exercise.
Are you good?
Yep.
You actually slimmed up a bit, I think.
Oh, God,
You're looking good.
Look.
He's flexing his pectorals right at the moment,
Starving.
For those that don't know, though, very quickly, I mean, now you're a resident at Cinnamon Park.
Yeah.
How many people are living there?
14.
14, okay,
Yeah.
because we were back out just 2 days ago at this fantastic new facility at Wooloowin, which only has, I think, four residents there, but amazing what happens there, and I know Young Care is obviously becoming more and more aware of the great work they do. Just in a nutshell, is it the independence for you that has created the change in your life, the Young Care thing for you?
What's it really giving you?
Freedom.
Freedom.
And supportment and just independence, really.
Yeah.
I can imagine when you go through something as severe as what you went through when you had your accident and trying to adjust to life as it is now, that in itself is just such a traumatic thing to experience. And then to be surrounded, and nothing against old people, but nothing against really old people, but you're a young man, you're a vibrant young man, you're full of life, we've seen that. And all of a sudden to have so many things that have changed in your life just overnight, boom, like that. On top of that, to be surrounded by old people who, let's be honest, you don't have anything in common with. That must be just another added element that you have to struggle to deal with. And given the great work that Young Care do, that's something that they help alleviate.
Yeah, it is. No, it's amazing place, Yeah.
How did that feel for you, Jenny? Just the thought of having to have Tim after his accident and seeing him, like, the options of aged care facilities as opposed to Young Care. What was that like for you as a mum?
Really, it was probably the worst moment of my life when I was told that, the doctors told us that Tim would probably not wake up or might remain vegetative and therefore was destined for a nursing home. And a day or so later, it finally clicked that they were talking about an aged care facility, and I can't forget the horror of that. It was truly terrible.
And I know. So, what's your sister's name?
Caroline.
Yeah, I remember talking to Caroline at New Farm Park, and she was saying that the same kind of sentiments, that you've got this one struggle with what he's going through, and then on top of it, the aged care facility. To find out that Young Care is there, and this is what they're all about. It's got to be a godsend.
I think the aged care facilities are for older people, and they do a great job, but the care there is aimed at elderly people.
Yeah.
So there's no young music, there's no young outings.
Well, the
There's
things
no
that we
friends.
take for granted, Jenny. So it's like the equivalent of me on a Friday night saying, "What are Kip and I going to do this Friday night?" Well, we'll start with a bit of backgammon.
Yes.
And then,
Well, that's it.
And then we'll hit the lawn bowl, and like it just doesn't make sense. It's the stuff that as a young person,
Well, look at
we
Tim's.
take for granted.
Look at Tim's list of these things to do in New York. Party on was pretty high on the list.
Party on.
Party
Yeah,
on.
of
Never
course.
did you say Scrabble?
Yeah, Scrabble. Party though, but Scrabble too.
A Scrabble as well. Okay, I'll have a crack at that with you, mate, when I'm recovering. Now, Tim, what's your running pedigree, mate? Have you ever run a marathon?
How about you?
No, well,
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
I haven't.
So someone has. Well, Ash has, but have you?
Yeah, the
What'd you do?
Gold Coast Marathon
Yeah.
When?
1 year ago.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
So what did you do?
Yeah.
just have coffee and have a chat.
What did you do the last
No,
what-
and walk.
So-
Yeah, walk through
walk
that.
through the crowd for the final lap.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
So you walked the last little bit of the Gold
Yeah.
Cup.
What, on your feet?
Yeah.
Well, if
Oh,
it
good on you,
if it
mate.
gets to it in New York, do you mind if you walk the last little bit and I sit in the chair, like for the last sort of
All right. Then, yes.
for the last bit of?
It may come to this.
Yeah,
do
mate.
not agree to anything. Do not sign the dotted line anywhere, Tim.
Yes.
All right.
And,
suppose.
and while we're on it,
Hot dogs, though. Hot dogs.
there's
Hot
a couple.
dogs.
There's a couple of hills in New York over bridges, and we may as well get this out now. Is it
Yes.
okay if we
Yeah.
all sit on your lap going down? is that going to be
We can
okay?
get some speed up.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right.
It seems incredibly dangerous. almost
Anyway.
jackass kind of sort of
That's fine,
situation.
all right.
That's fine. Okay, we've got a few deals locked in there.
Scrabble as
And
well.
you've got to meet Bernard Fatting, who's
Yeah,
been like
yeah.
I think Bernard has been instrumental in putting young care on
Yeah.
the map. For most young Australians, the concert that we all
Yes.
remember that
Yeah.
they did, and Bernard himself has not only been out there publicly but privately. You've got to meet him as well, and of course he's going to be a part of the 10-year celebrations.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Yeah.
great concert too. I think
Yeah, yeah.
you're getting a chance to head along. That Bernard's doing a great concert. And it said this is a locally driven thing. And initially, of course, Dave and Siobhan Connery,
Yeah.
and the battles that they went through. And of course, as one of the first ever residents, Siobhan's one of the first ever residents of Young Care.
Yeah.
I mean, to know that history, and Jenny, for you, I know that so many people, so many lives have now been affected by this. What started 10 years ago as a very small, insular thing has become something much, much bigger and better.
It's really an amazing legacy from Siobhan and her husband's and friends' days of starting the accommodation, because it's now grown nationwide.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's an amazing organisation when I do think of the alternative. And, you know, the choices have not been there
Yeah.
without Young Care.
No,
Yeah.
look, it's a wonderful organisation. And the point of us going to New York, on a serious note for a second, there's 7,000 young people with high care needs in this country. 7,000, just think about that. That's a decent football crowd that you
Yeah.
see on the tally when you...
And they're currently in aged
And
care,
they're,
these
and they're
7,000.
currently in aged care, and we need to get these people, the young people, their whole life ahead of them.
Yep.
And they're surrounded by old people. And again, nothing against old people, but you didn't want to hang around with old people.
No.
When you weren't old. So we're raising money. It's the point of New York, is to raise money for this wonderful organisation, Young Care. And so please help contribute so that we can help achieve that.
And Jenny, just we spoke about how you felt and the emotions you felt initially with the potential future for Tim. When you look at him now and see how far he's advanced, talk us through your emotions about this great young fellow that sits before us today.
Coming from such a negative background of nowhere to go, nowhere to live, won't wake up, they couldn't tell us enough bad news really. And to see Tim now, bright and happy, headed for New York, I can't believe it either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the decision that you made as a family back then when you did hear that really overwhelmingly negative news to go, no, we're going to give this every shot, and you had to move from, where were you up at?
We're in Rockhampton.
In Rockhampton, move from Rockhampton, come down here, give Tim all the care. Well, that's paying off. Who would have thought that, here he is heading to the Big Apple, the biggest smile on his face that you've probably seen in some time. Those days must have seemed like just never going to happen back in the day.
They were a bit of a nightmare, and it was a family thing. We moved, there was no one else in Brisbane. Tim was 23 here at uni, and we were we were all over the place. So his brother Peter came back from London, and Carolyn left her job in Sydney.
Wow.
So we we pushed him around, and he started to come good.
Yep.
Yeah,
The only thing I had known back then, you go, one day this bloke is going to be cutting loose with Luttsy in New York.
New York.
New York, Tim. New York.
New York. New York. New York. Oh, yeah.
Now listen, while we're running the marathon, we're pushing into the marathon, I reckon it would be cruel if you were like eating hot dogs or...
It's just a
go.
bagel.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Can you just lay off like the hot dogs or the milkshakes or whatever while we're actually
Imagine
sweating
that.
it out
I
on
don't
the...
know, though. God.
Imagine as we're pushing
we're not-
it, you're loaded up with it.
Yeah, it's 42 kilometres as is. We're not detouring through a drive-through or anything like that, okay? You can,
I've heard about the Shake Shack. One of those burgers.
Fantastic. God.
Let him have one burger.
one burger.
One burger.
One
Two.
We'll round it up to
Three,
2.
God.
Not 3, Jimmy. Oh, well.
Yeah. Now, we've all got like a running list that we're all organised, like our running lists and all the rest of it, because we spend all day talking to each other. So the last thing we're going to want to do when we're running is actually talk to each other.
It's true, actually.
I hope you're not going to take that as us being rude if we're all just locked away in our own. Or should we all run without so we can all talk? Well, see, I think
well,
we're
Tim,
going to
I
be too tired to
I
talk.
don't know.
Yeah, well, but the other point is, Tim, they reckon that when Ash, you've done it, they reckon the whole 42K,
Yes.
you're just going to be looking at things happening
Yeah,
to the left of
yeah.
the street, to the
Right.
Yeah.
rock bands, people cheering your name. And the other thing we have to do, now Hugh Jackman told us this,
Yeah.
because his brother has run it, is when we get out, when you get your race number on, we've got to put Tim or Timmy, whatever you want above that.
Put your name.
Because the crowd then sees that and yells at you, go Timmy, and go Luttsy, go Ash.
Well, you know what
Yeah.
I
And
just
you feel
thought-
like, in fact, apparently you feel like a superstar. You feel
Yeah.
10 foot tall.
What we should probably do, just think about it now, is we probably need a couple of flags that we can put on the back of the wheelchair.
As long as they're
to
light.
show what we're doing. No, we'll have maybe an Australian flag and a Young Care flag
Yes.
showing why we're doing it so that people in the crowd can, even if they sit there, and who knows from that, they might look up Young Care and then it might,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's something they've got in the States, but it might generate a little bit of momentum
Yeah.
over there as well.
It is very good.
idea.
Yeah.
So long as they're light, you're right though.
Yes, yes.
Carbon fibre
Yes.
flag.
Create
yes.
no drag whatsoever. Well, great to see you guys. Thanks for coming into the studio, Tim
Yeah,
and Jenny.
thanks,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cheers,
yeah.
guys. We'll see you in New York.